Marissa's family, a housing journey. Marissa lives here, and she loves her neighborhood. Her neighborhood did not always look that way. Many, many years ago, Marissa's great-grandparents, Jose and Maria, moved to America from Mexico with Marissa's grandmother, Rosa, who was still a very little girl. When Jose and Maria moved to their new home, they found out they could not live in some places, and many businesses would not hire or serve them. They found an apartment in the only house which would rent to them. There was not a school nearby or play area for Rosa. Even though the apartment was not very nice, it took most of the family's income to pay for it, which meant there was not much money for food, clothes, heat in the winter, or school supplies. Some people in town said it was not healthy or safe for families to live in apartments like the one Jose, Maria, and Rosa rented. At the same time, the whole country was struggling through a difficult time called the Great Depression. Many people could not find work and did not have money for housing. More and more people said it was important for families to have a safe, healthy place to live. So in 1937, the president passed a law to provide money to build nicer apartments. Even though the government had money to build housing, it was difficult to get it built. A small number of people did not want to live near people who did not have as much money or were different in some way from them, and they prevented housing from being built. Some men and women just wanted to tear down the old buildings, which needed many repairs, and did not build new homes for the families who lived there. Eventually, Rosa's town had some new apartments built with the government money. Rosa was now married, so she and her husband, Samuel, moved in to start their life together. A couple years passed, and Rosa had a son, Manuel. Rosa and Samuel wanted to raise Manuel in a nice home with a yard instead of their small apartment. Unfortunately, Rosa and Samuel could not borrow money to help pay for a house. The government had a program to lend people with small incomes money to buy houses, which is called a mortgage, but the government discouraged giving mortgages to families like Rosa's who were not white. When Manuel was a little boy, he went to school a short walk from the apartment. Most of the kids at the school were Mexican, Asian, or black, because they lived near the school too. Part of the reason they lived in their neighborhood was they were not welcome in other areas of town. As Manuel grew up, what had been a nice apartment building became run down because the government did not invest money in repairs, new paint, or better playground equipment. Some lawmakers suggested tearing down Manuel's building to make room for a university, businesses, or a hospital. This had already happened in lots of other places. The lawmakers did not have a plan for where Manuel's family and the other families could live. They did not understand that even though the building looked dilapidated, the people cared about each other, so they did not want to move away. So Rosa, Samuel, and other parents said they would not leave. They wanted to work with the government to create a plan that would work for everyone. The neighborhood formed an organization called a Community Development Corporation to work with people in charge of housing, recreation space, roads, sidewalks, and schools. They decided to fix up the old buildings to preserve them and to sell some land to a business to put up new houses. The rules against giving loans to people who did not have large incomes and were not white had been changed, so when Samuel married Sandra, they bought a house near Rosa and Samuel. Though Manuel and Sandra could afford a house, not everyone in town had money to pay for a place to live, and other people could pay, but not for a home in a good part of town. When new housing was proposed that more people would be able to afford, the town rules, called zoning, said it was not the type of housing style the town wanted, and so could not be built. Manuel, Sandra, and other people all over the United States thought it was wrong to stop housing projects when so many people needed good places to call home. Those people worked together to pass a state law that said every town needed to have affordable buildings. So now Manuel's town has many different kinds of housing for all sorts of people. Marisa really likes her neighborhood because she has lots of friends and her grandparents, Rosa and Samuel, are nearby. Marisa enjoys going on trips with her family, eating yummy food, and walking to the toy store. She is really glad her parents do not have to pay so much for their house that there is no money left over for fun activities. By working together, Marisa's family, the government, town residents, and community organizations built better housing people could afford, and in the process, they built a better town.